recap what's going on with the Scouts. The first thing was there was a trip to Santa Barbara on a train, and we went up there. And on the ride back, there was two boys pushing the idea that boys can marry boys and girls can marry girls and have babies. And then other kids were kind of debating them. They're all like 7, 8, 9-year-olds. And my kid was sitting next to me. The two boys doing that belong to a lesbian couple. So, and one of them is like a LGBT activist, community organizer, social justice warrior, Shane Murphy Goldsmith. She's like a big deal in that community. So, she's all about it. So her boys, adopted boys, are out there spreading that stuff to the other kids on the train. I was kind of nodding off a little on the ride back. And my girl was next to me. So they come over, and I hear them debating this stuff. Then they come over, and they tell my girl, hey, you can marry that girl. She had made a friend on the trip. And my girl said, I don't marry girls. I'm friends with girls. I don't marry girls. Yeah, you can. So they're pushing it aggressive. And she just kept quiet. And then they asked me, sir, one of them on the other side, who was kind of against it. He when kids are debating, and you ask an adult what they think, and then you kind of solve the argument. I remember that when I was a kid. So he asked me, sir, can boys marry boys and have babies? And I asked him. I didn't tell him nothing. I didn't bump into their conversation. They asked me, and I said, and I asked him, what do you think? He said, no. I said, of course not, man. That's disgusting. And now here comes Shane Murphy Goldsmith with her like a hawk into our spot, with her eyes all big and mad, like angry. And she's like, you can't say that. That's hate speech. People can love whoever they want. How can we trust you with our children? She's like, starts scolding me, embarrass me in front of everyone, making me look bad in front of my kid, contradicting what we teach to my girl, because we're Christian, Orthodox Christian. And by saying people can love whoever they want, I said, you can love whoever you want, but it doesn't mean you have to do what. And I said, we believe differently. And that's just what we believe. We're not telling you what to believe. That's what we believe. Don't ram it down our neck. Where was she when the kids were pushing this stuff? Obviously, it's inappropriate. And she didn't care until we said one thing that didn't go along with what, the way she sees things. And also, where were the Scout leaders? They should have shut it down. But they didn't, And then when I told a kid that's disgusting, it was like an unforgivable major offense. So I didn't think much of it. But then they were rallying the troops, and a few weeks later I get emails that I'm out of the group. So then there was a meeting about it. They call it the incident that occurred on the train. They're making a big freaking deal about this thing, man. It didn't have to be, It's not a big deal. I didn't go over to them and say, you guys are disgusting. The kid asked me, I told him a quick little answer. It wasn't a big deal. I didn't say any person is disgusting. I said the act. It's disgusting. I said that's disgusting. Not they are disgusting. So then during the parent meeting, it's going back and forth. But the thing to keep in mind that was relevant to how things unfold is I asked them at one point, because they have a Scout oath. Scouts, by the way, are the Boy Scouts of America, are not about hiking trips and tying knots. It's about raising up moral citizens, the best type of citizen, and who are God-fearing people. So you're supposed to talk to the kids about God during the trips. I didn't know that until later. I never really read the paperwork. I was just going to have fun with my girl. But I started reading that stuff when they started pulling, rules and technicalities on me to throw me out. So then I asked them, who here? I'm just curious, because in the Scout oath it says, says right here. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, and to obey the Scout law, which is all moral stuff, and to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. So they love to say, well, we don't really know what morally straight means. I know what it means. It's not confusing. But they want to interpret. They want to play games. Scout law: trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, relevant, whatever. But the key part that got my eyes, on my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God. And then so I asked them, by show of hands, who here believes in God? Nobody raised their hand. Out of a group of like 40 people, all parents and Scout leaders, nobody did. So then they pushed to get me out of there. My thing was like, you guys can't kick me out just because I think differently than you do, and especially after just one chance. If it was like an unforgivable offense, I should have been prepared beforehand how to handle a situation like that. If it's like one offense and you're out, there's no 3 strikes and you're out. Just one mistake and you're out. And nobody cared that lady, Shane, came and offended us on purpose, contradicted the teaching I give my daughter on purpose, scolded me, embarrassed me. Basically, she said I'm disgusting. And that's why I got kicked out, because they all agreed I'm disgusting. But I'm not allowed to say 2 guys doing this in the butt is disgusting. So then, I made some videos. I would drop in there. I would go in Rambo First Blood on them, coming into the meetings, telling them they can't kick me out, asking. And what I wanted was, and they made me take online training course, like 45 minutes, like child safety training. They asked that I apologize. I already did apologize, because I told them at the meeting, we don't hate anybody. I'm sorry if I made you feel bad. It wasn't my intention. We love everybody. There's just certain things that we believe are sin against God. That's just what we believe. And but after everything was said and done, no, you're out. So I was thinking, man, why'd they make me take the online training if they're just kick me out? Why'd they ask me to apologize? And I did apologize more than once, just if they were going to kick me out anyway. And I'm a paid member, by the way. I bought all the gear. I paid membership. It was like almost $500 total. So they made it. So I was going back there to the meetings, and they didn't like that. And then I'll tell that story later. But what I wanted, so when I made a series of videos, what I wanted them to do is, since I was asked to apologize and jump through hoops, then you guys should do something too. Apologize to my kid. No one has to apologize to me, because I forgive everybody. Doesn't matter to me. I don't need an apology. And they didn't need one either, because they didn't forgive after they got the apology. They kept hating me. They kept wanting blood. So an apology doesn't do anything. I forgive people. They don't. But to rub their nose in it a little, I said, you guys apologize to my girl for scaring her, because she cried when she got home. She felt we did something bad, and it was embarrassing. She was embarrassed. That idiot Shane could have said, hey, can I talk to you in private? She didn't do that. She scolded me right there in front of my kid, and that's all fine. Nobody's asking her to change or say sorry or to kick her out. It's all like what I did was horrible. Even though what I did was done by accident, it was kind of a mistake. We were new there. If anyone should have known better, it was her. Anyway, so what I wanted was for them to apologize to Aloma, to explain why she's kicked out, because I'd like to see them explain how, your dad said 2 guys doing it in the butt is disgusting, so we are kicking you out because of that. So it was a little trap for them, or I wasn't expecting them to do it. I just want to let them open their eyes a little. Give them a little bit of their own medicine. And I said, then I want my money back. That's when I was dropping into the meetings, getting into discussions with people. They're all in a frenzy. And then, before that happened, though, they talked to a lady named Sandy, who's in charge of the church grounds where they meet, because they have a lot of rooms there, and they get to use the rooms for free. And they told her, this nut is coming and bothering us. So she sent an email, I'm not allowed to go in the room, but I'm allowed in the church. Long story short, we met with her, my wife, my kid, my little baby, not Aloma, and she was in school, and me. And we let her know our side of the story. And eventually... she ended up, and I told them she's going to, because she said, I'm not here to handle these kind of disputes. I don't need the drama. I said, well, they're kicking the can to you. They're saying you're the authority who has power to kick me out, because they really don't, because it's not their territory, it's not their grounds. It'd be like me kicking somebody out of a park. I can't do that, but the city can kick them out of the park if they want to. I mean, that's a funny example, but I could kick someone out of my house, but I can't kick somebody out of your house. Only you can do that. So they're meeting in Sandy's house. So she said, but she didn't want trouble, so she said, just don't go in the room where they're there, but you can go anywhere in the church. So, okay, that's fine, I understand. But as time went on, and I was making videos and going protesting from the sidewalk, they kept crying to her. I wasn't there, but she told me they were very unappreciative. They're acting nasty. It's horrible the way they treated you. This is their last month there. So I can imagine they just probably got very bossy with her. This is the way these people are. They don't appreciate, they don't love, they only hate. And I can imagine that, and she's kind of like a nice older lady, old-fashioned lady. And they probably got real pushy and bossy and nasty with her, telling her how she ought to deal with me tougher. Maybe, who knows, maybe make it so I can't even be on the sidewalk in front of the church. I don't know. But what I do know is she told me they're all getting kicked out. This is their last month there, which is February. So March not there anymore. And then I talked to a lady in Texas who's also named Sandy about what can I do about this. Again, my thing is I don't want to get kicked out of there. I don't want to be with them, but I don't want them to think they could kick us out. So my thing was I want to stand there in the space. How you doing, Scouts? You can't kick me out. I'm here. But guess what? I'm leaving. I don't want to be with you guys. That's what was my thing that I wanted. For them to know they can't kick me out. Because what if I didn't like them? And I say, hey, I don't like homos and lesbians in the Scouts. You guys are out. Then it'd be on the 5 o'clock news. But this way it wasn't. And for one of the protests, I did call the news, and they didn't show up. They don't care about this kind of thing. This doesn't fit what's that word, man? Oh well, it doesn't fit what they want to sell to the people. They didn't show up. What the guy did do at KTLA, Fox News, he called all the people at 219 and let him know that I'm going to come protest, and I'm making videos, because I showed him my videos, so he saw what was going on. And then they started crying to YouTube to have them blocked. I got 100 emails from YouTube, but none of them were successful, because I would just respond and say, what part do you want me to edit? And then they'd say, okay, they would autobot respond. After closer examination, you're not in violation. So that's all that guy did at the news. But if I had asked for them to be kicked out, and if Christians had power in a scout group, and when a homo got kicked out, it'd be the whole country would have known about it. Because these bastards have taken over a lot of ground, and everyone needs to push them back out. So what's happening now is I called a lady in Texas. She said she really couldn't help me, and I was getting frustrated about it. She said, just go to another pack. I said, that's not the point. I don't want to go to another pack. You got to let them know they can't kick people out like this. So then she, and I told her about how there are a bunch of atheists there on top of it, and they have a scout oath. And she reminded me of something interesting I didn't know about. In the adult application, it says, It's called Declaration of Religious Principle. The group must give definite attention to religious life. It also says Boy Scouts of America position is that atheists and agnostics cannot, I repeat, atheists and agnostics cannot participate as scouts or adult scout leaders. You know, and then just to throw in also the guy Robert Baden-Powell wrote, "No man is much good unless he believes in God and obeys his laws." Robert Baden-Powell, who started the Scouts in the 1900s, wrote that. So this was interesting. So I thought to myself, wait a second. I got text messages from Scout leaders making fun about people who believe in God, total atheists. I have that on record. I have on video another Scout leader refusing to acknowledge he believes in God. You know, and I've got all the parents recorded when I said, "Who here believes in God?" Nobody raised their hand. And I've got another woman who, when some kids were discussing how it all got here, was it the Big Bang or God? I said, of course it was God. A Big Bang, a big bomb doesn't create life or anything. It just makes a mess. Only God could have made the things we see around us in nature and ourselves as well. And then here comes a mom. She looked like she practiced witchcraft. I mean, not like a witch, like she was a witch. I believe that. That white face and black hair. She was a stocky kind of woman. And she said, "You can't say that. You know, we believe in science. It was the Big Bang." I said, a blast doesn't create life. And she just stayed quiet. But then I thought to myself, you know, I shouldn't be talking to these people's kids about God, you know, like a weirdo. But I didn't know about the divine, I didn't know about the Declaration of Religious Principle, because you're supposed to be talking about God on these trips and adventures. The adventures and activities are intended to be opportunities to instill faith in the kids and the growing members. I mean, it says a lot of things. I'm going to read. This is a trip. One guy who was a scout for years didn't believe that he was an older guy now, a guy I work out with sometimes. He was an Eagle Scout from the Cub to Eagle. He didn't even know about this. He thinks I'm bullshitting him. The truth. But I said, no, I texted to him. He says, Declaration of Religious Principle. Only persons willing to... This is from the Scout application. Boy Scouts of America. Only persons willing to subscribe to the precepts from the Declaration of Religious Principle and the bylaws of the Boy Scouts of America shall be entitled to register. Boy Scouts of America recognizes that no member can grow into the best kind of citizen without recognizing an obligation to God. Scout oath, recognition of God. Well, I wrote in there, for example, the Scout oath. Recognition of God as the ruling and leading power in the universe and the greater acknowledgement of his favors and blessings are necessary to the best type of citizenship and are wholesome precepts in the education of the growing members. It also says it doesn't matter the specific type of religion. That's not important and not required. All that is required is the acknowledgement of belief in God. All that is required is the acknowledgement of belief in God, as stated in the Declaration of Religious Principle and the Scout Oath, and the ability to be reverent, as stated in the Scout Law. So some people may believe in God, but they don't care about God. You're supposed to not only believe in Him, but be reverent of God, respectful. So that right there disqualifies every person as a leader I met in the PAC 219. All of them. So then I switched gears. I said, enough of that. Me trying to get them to say sorry to my kid and explain to her why she's kicked out and showing up to the meetings. I'm going for the heads of atheists and agnostics because they have no business being scout leaders. So that's where I'm at now. So there's another fella named Matt Thornton, Sandy. I forgot her name, in Texas, told me that he's the guy in charge on the LA district, big, Los Angeles. I told him what's going on, what I want to do. He said he's coming back. I never heard from him. I've been calling him every day. Today's Saturday. I've been calling him. First time I called him was last Thursday. Not the Thursday 3 days ago, but the one before, like way back then. Every day. He doesn't take my calls. Finally, yesterday I called him. Called his secretary. She said he's sending you a letter. I said, what, a letter? Who writes letters? I remember in the 70s we used to write letters. Why is he scared to talk to me like man to man? Because so whatever, I'll wait for the letter. That's okay. He's trying to stall. I don't know what he's doing. It's very clear and easy to understand though, the Declaration of Religious Principle. So I don't know how he's going to twist it, but let me see. Okay. Yeah. And what I told him is this: I am calling for the resignation of all atheist and agnostic scout leaders according to the Declaration of Religious Principle. That's what I want. And I've got proof that there are atheists there. I mean, it just happened like that. I've got text messages from one guy, and I got the whole group recorded, and I've got video of at least one member clearly refusing to acknowledge belief in God. And according to this stuff, he that disqualifies him from being a leader. He's there dressed up like a scout. He's like a grown man. He's dressed up like a scout. He's out. I'm coming after all you guys. All of you. We'll see what happens. Seems like nobody cares about that. They just want to have a little hiking, knot tying group. They can go to West Hollywood and have a little man-boy hiking group if they want. But I'm going to try to reactivate this faith in God principle within the Scouts because I think that's just what kids need. To be the best type of citizens. I agree. So I'm gonna wait for the dude's letter. I'm gonna talk again to the woman in Texas, and I'm gonna find out who are the people who kind of feel strongly about it, who are on my side. I see all the other guys who don't care. They feel strongly on let's let the gays in, let the homos in, let the lesbians in. Who cares about God? There's plenty of them here. I'm in LA. But I know that there's another side of this war, and there's people fighting these guys, and I'd like to maybe hook up with them and see what we can do. I'm ready to get these rats out, but I can't do it myself. Maybe I can. I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna keep pushing because it's very clear and easy to understand that it says right there, no atheist or agnostic can be a leader. I don't remember exactly how it says it, but it says it there over and over again. So, it's going to be fun. And I'm not going to stop. Because the last thing I'll say is that the Scouts kind of backed down and let the homos in. That was the worst thing they could have done. They let these evil, nasty people in. It was like the Three Little Pigs when they let the two stupid ones got their house blown down, and then they all ran into the smart pig's house, and then they see the wolf outside and they feel sorry for him, so they open the door and let him in to the third brother's house. It wasn't even their house, and then he tries to kill them all. That's what the Scouts did by letting these godless homo sodomites into the Scouts. They're not going to act nice. First thing they do is try to kick out everybody else and corrupt the whole thing, because they cry about tolerance and being treated fairly, don't discriminate, but they don't care about any of that stuff when it's turned around. They'll discriminate, not tolerate, and kick out, destroy, and kill. They will kill me if they could. It goes that far, you know. And I'm willing to die. I don't care. I mean, not so much for this cause, but this world isn't so great. You know, I'm passing through here. We're all passing through here for a time. You know, so none of that stuff scares me off. You know, I don't care. I'll be here. I could leave this place tonight, today, or in 100 years. I don't care. It's not that great here. You know, I believe that God has a better world that He's preparing for those who believe in Him. And the purpose of this life is to prepare for the life to come. And a good way to get on that program is that the kids start learning from a young age that God is real, He loves us, and He's watching, and He wants us to be morally straight. So we pass the test, follow Christ to the world to come, where the real world is, where the real blessed life will be, you know. So let's see what happens.